If someone had told me the biggest threat to my carefully controlled life wouldn't be a hostile takeover or a leaked memo, but the woman hired to protect me, I would have fired security. My name is Lara Koenig, and I work as a bodyguard. Not the kind you picture in films, no generic suits, dark shades and earpieces outside nightclubs. I'm the real thing. 6 feet tall, trained in 3 martial arts, former German military police, with a body carved from years of discipline and countless hours in the gym. I can drop a man twice my size without even breathing hard. I've guarded diplomats, celebrities and rich businessmen all over West Europe. But none of that prepared me for Celeste Aldridge. Let me take you back 2 years. I was 30 then, living in a small apartment in Lindenstadt, employed by a private security firm. The salary was okay, but nothing impressive. I came from a middle-class family in Altenburg. My parents were teachers, hard-working people who taught me the value of honesty and discipline. I joined the military at 18, worked my way up, and eventually found my calling in personal protection. When the offer came through to work in Harbor City, I almost did not take it. The client was described as demanding, difficult, with a reputation for burning through security personnel faster than most people went through coffee. But the money was incredible, 3 times what I was making in Lindenstadt. Enough to send money home to my parents to finally have some savings to live comfortably in one of the most expensive cities in the world. So I said yes. I flew to Harbor City in March. The city was cold and grey, but alive in a way Lindenstadt never was. Everything moved faster here. Everything was louder, brighter, more intense. My first day, I was told to report to a building on the Upper East Side. Not just any building. One of those luxury apartment towers where a single unit cost more than most people made in a lifetime. The doorman looked me up and down, clearly skeptical of my worn leather jacket and practical boots, but he let me in when I showed my credentials. I took the elevator to the penthouse. The top floor, of course. The doors opened directly into the apartment, not a hallway. The elevator opened into a massive living space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Everything was white and cream and gold. Modern furniture that looked like art. Fresh flowers in crystal vases. The kind of wealth that did not need to announce itself because it was so obvious. And there she was, Celeste Aldridge. She was 55 years old, but she carried herself like royalty. Short grey hair cut in a sharp, fashionable style that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She was wearing an immaculate cream-colored suit, tailored perfectly to her petite frame. She was maybe 5'3", but she seemed to fill the entire room, diamond studs in her ears, a watch that I recognized as a PC Philippe, shoes that were definitely custom-made. She was on the phone speaking rapid-fire to someone about market projections and stock options. She glanced at me, held up one finger to indicate I should wait, and continued her conversation. I stood there for a full 10 minutes while she finished her call. Finally she hung up and turned to face me. "You must be Lara," she said. Her voice was cold, clipped. "All business. You are late." I glanced at my watch. I was exactly on time. "I was told to arrive at 9 o'clock. I said, "I expected you at 8:50. If you are not early, you are late." She looked me up and down with a critical eye. "You are tall. Good. That makes you more visible as a deterrent. But your clothes are unacceptable. I have an image to maintain, and my security team reflects on me. I will have my assistant arrange for appropriate attire." I felt my jaw tighten. I had been here less than 5 minutes and she was already criticizing me. "Now let me be clear about expectations," she continued, walking toward the windows. She moved with purpose, every step calculated. "I am the founder and CEO of Aldridge Industries. We specialize in luxury goods, primarily high-end fashion and accessories. I am also a milliner." "Do you know what that means?" "You make hats," I said. "I create art that happens to be worn on the head," she corrected. "My designs are worn by celebrities, royalty, and the most influential people in the world. My time is valuable. My safety is paramount. You will accompany me everywhere, meetings, events, travel, everything. You will be invisible when I need you to be invisible and present when I need you to be present. You will anticipate threats before they materialize. You will not embarrass me, question me, or slow me down. Is that clear?" "Crystal clear," I said. "Good. Your room is on the 9th floor. This penthouse occupies floors 8 through 10. You will have access to the common areas, but my private quarters on the 10th floor are off limits unless there is an emergency. You start immediately. I have a meeting in Midtown in 1 hour. Be ready." She turned and walked away, her heels clicking on the marble floor. I stood there already regretting my decision. The first few months working for Celeste Aldridge were hell. She was exactly as demanding as advertised. She woke up at 5 in the morning and expected me to be ready. She worked 16-hour days attending meetings, overseeing design sessions, visiting her factories and showrooms. She traveled constantly, flying to Paris, Milan, London, sometimes just for a single meeting before flying back the same day. And she was cold, not just professional, but genuinely cold. She did not make small talk. She did not ask about my life, my family, my interests. I was a tool to her, a piece of equipment that needed to function properly. She was also incredibly harsh with her employees. I watched her reduce a senior designer to tears because a hem was off by half an inch. I saw her fire an assistant on the spot for bringing her the wrong coffee order. She had impossible standards and zero tolerance for mistakes. I hated her. Every night I would go back to my room on the 9th floor, a space that was technically larger and nicer than my entire apartment in Lindenstadt, and I would think about quitting. The money was good, but was it worth dealing with this nightmare of a woman? But I am not a quitter. I was raised to finish what I started. So I stayed. I learned her routines. I learned her preferences. I learned to anticipate her needs before she voiced them. I learned which threats were real and which were just over-eager fans or photographers. I learned to fade into the background at business meetings and step forward at public events. And slowly I started to notice things about her. She was brilliant, not just successful, but genuinely brilliant. I watched her redesign an entire product line in a single afternoon, seeing connections and possibilities that no one else could see. I watched her negotiate deals that left hardened businessmen looking stunned. She was also a perfectionist because she cared deeply about her work. Every hat, every accessory, every piece that bore her name was crafted with obsessive attention to detail. She did not accept mediocrity, because she believed her customers deserved the best. And underneath the ice, there were moments of something else, something softer. Like the time I saw her comfort a young intern who had made a mistake, speaking gently, and offering guidance instead of criticism. Or the time she anonymously donated a huge sum to a charity for homeless youth, thinking no one noticed. Or the way she would stand at those massive windows late at night when she thought no one was watching, and her face would show exhaustion and loneliness. Celeste Aldridge was not just a demanding boss. She was a woman who had built an empire from nothing, who had sacrificed everything for her success, who had no one in her life, who was not on her payroll. She was alone. It was June when things started to shift between us. We were in her private car being driven to an event in Brooklyn. Celeste had a collection of luxury vehicles that would make any car enthusiast weep. Tonight we were in the Bentley, smooth and quiet, and worth more than my parents' house. She was reviewing notes on her tablet, as always. I was scanning the streets as always. Then her phone rang. I could only hear her side of the conversation, but it was clear something was wrong. "What do you mean the fabric did not arrive?" Her voice was sharp. "That is unacceptable. The show is in 3 days. 3 days. If those hats are not ready, the entire collection is ruined." She listened, her jaw tight. "I do not care what you have to do. Find another supplier. Charter a plane if you have to. I want that fabric in Harbor City by tomorrow morning or you are all fired." She hung up and I could see the tension in her shoulders. She closed her eyes and took a breath. "Everything okay?" I asked. It was the first time I had initiated conversation with her in 3 months. She opened her eyes and looked at me, surprised I had spoken. "Nothing I cannot handle," she said. "You look stressed." "I am always stressed. It comes with the territory." We sat in silence for a moment. "You know," I said carefully, "in the military we had a saying. Stress is just fear in disguise. Fear that we would not be good enough, strong enough, fast enough, but fear is useless. It does not change outcomes. Action changes outcomes." She looked at me for a long moment. "That is surprisingly wise for someone whose job is to look intimidating," she said. Was that a joke? Was Celeste Aldridge making a joke? "I can do more than look intimidating," I said. I can also open jars and reach high shelves. The corner of her mouth twitched, almost a smile. Noted, she said. When we arrived at the event, a charity gala for arts education, Celeste was immediately swarmed by people wanting her attention. I stayed close, monitoring the crowd, keeping an eye on exits and potential threats. At one point, a drunk guest got too close, reaching for Celeste's arm. I stepped between them smoothly, my size and presence enough to make him back off without me saying a word. When we got back in the car hours later, Celeste looked exhausted. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for handling that man without causing a scene." "That is my job," I said. "Still, you did it well." It was the first compliment she had given me. After that night, something changed. Celeste started talking to me. Not a lot, but small comments here and there. She asked about my background, my training. She seemed genuinely interested in my answers. I learned more about her too. She had started her company 30 years ago with nothing but a sewing machine and a dream. She had worked herself nearly to death building her brand. She had been married once briefly, when she was young. It had not worked out. She had poured everything into her business instead. She had no children, no family nearby, just her work. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked, one evening. We were in her apartment, her reviewing designs while I did maintenance on my equipment. "Not having a different life." She looked up from her sketches. "Every choice has a cost," she said. "I chose success and independence. The cost was connection and companionship. But I do not think I would have been happy as someone's wife making dinners and attending PTA meetings. That was never who I was." "You could have both," I said. "Success and love." "Could I?" She set down her pencil. "How many successful women do you know who also have happy marriages? How many female CEOs have partners who are not threatened by their success? How many women in power are allowed to be fully themselves?" I did not have an answer. "I learned early on that people want to possess successful women," she continued. "They want to tame you, diminish you, make you smaller so they can feel bigger. I refuse to be made smaller for anyone." I understood her better after that conversation. Her coldness was armor. Her impossibly high standards were how she maintained control. She had built walls so high that no one could hurt her, but those same walls kept her isolated. In July, Celeste's schedule got even more intense. Fashion Week was approaching, and she was unveiling a new collection. The pressure was enormous. One night, I found her in her design studio on the 10th floor at 3 o'clock in the morning. She was surrounded by half-finished hats, fabric samples and scattered sketches. She looked utterly drained, tension and frustration written all over her face. "You should sleep," I said from the doorway. She looked up, startled. "What are you doing up? I heard you moving around." "Thought I should check," I replied. "I am fine, just working." I stepped fully into the room. "You've been working for 22 hours straight. You need rest." "I need to finish this collection," she insisted. "You need to take care of yourself," I countered. "You're no good to your company if you collapse from exhaustion." She stared at me, and for the first time I saw real vulnerability in her eyes. "I am scared," she said quietly. "This collection has to be perfect. If it fails, everything I have built could crumble. The fashion industry is brutal. One misstep and you are forgotten." I moved closer and sat down beside her. "Then let me help," I said. "Tell me what you need." She let out a small laugh, but there was no cruelty in it. "You are a bodyguard, not a designer." "True, but I am good at organizing, problem solving, and making sure things get done. Tell me what needs to happen for this collection to be ready." She looked at me for a long moment, then started explaining. I took notes. I made lists. I started coordinating with her team, delegating tasks, making sure materials were ordered and deadlines were met. We worked together through the night, and when the sun came up, Celeste looked at me with something like respect. "Thank you, Lara," she said. "Anytime, boss." Fashion Week was a nightmare. 12-hour days, non-stop events, security nightmares with crowds and photographers and celebrities. But Celeste's collection was a triumph. Critics raved. Celebrities clamored to wear her designs. Orders poured in. After the final show, Celeste and I were driven back to her apartment. She was exhausted but glowing with success. "We should celebrate," she said as we walked into the penthouse. We, I asked. Yes, we. You were a big part of this success. Come on. I have champagne that costs more than most cars. We sat in her living room with the city lights spread out below us, drinking champagne that tasted like liquid gold. Can I ask you something personal? Celeste said after her second glass. Sure. Are you happy with this life, this job? I thought about it. Yes, I am. When I first started, I hated it. I thought you were the most difficult person I had ever met. But now I do not know. I feel like I am part of something important, like I am protecting something that matters. You are, she said softly. You protect me, and that matters more than you know. There was something in the way she said it that made my heart beat faster. Celeste, I said, carefully, can I ask you something? Of course. Have you ever been with a woman? She looked at me, her expression unreadable. Yes, when I was younger, before I got married. Why do you ask? Just curious. We sat in silence for a moment. What about you? She asked. Are you attracted to women? Yes, I said. Only women, actually. I came out when I was 20. My parents were not thrilled at first, but they came around. You are lucky, she said. I never had that kind of acceptance. My family was very traditional. When I told my mother about a girlfriend I had in college, she told me it was a phase, and I needed to snap out of it. So I did. I buried it. I married a man I did not love. I focused on my career, and pretended that part of me did not exist. That must have been lonely. I said it was. She looked at me. It still is. The air between us felt charged with possibility. It does not have to be.
I said quietly.
She set down her champagne glass. Lara, I am your employer. This would be inappropriate, would it? Or are you just afraid? I am not afraid, she said, but her voice was uncertain. Yes, you are. You are afraid that if you let someone in, if you let yourself feel something, you will lose control. You will be vulnerable. You will be hurt. And what if I am? She said. What if I do get hurt? Then you get hurt. But at least you will have lived. At least you will have felt something real, instead of hiding behind your work and your wealth and your walls. She stood up abruptly. I think you should go to your room. I stood too. Celeste, please just go. I left, my heart pounding. I had crossed a line. I had probably ruined everything, but at least I had been honest. The next morning, I expected to be fired. Instead, Celeste acted like nothing had happened. She was professional, polite, distant, back to the cold boss I had met on my first day. It hurt more than I expected. We fell back into our routine: work, travel, events, silence. She did not mention our conversation, and neither did I. But I could not stop thinking about her, about the loneliness in her eyes, about the vulnerability she had shown me, about the way my heart raced when she was near. I was falling for her, for Celeste Aldridge, my boss, a woman 25 years older than me, a woman who seemed determined to keep me at a distance. It was August when everything changed. We were at her house in the Hamptons for the weekend. Celeste owned a beautiful beach house, where she went to escape the city. It was smaller than the penthouse, more intimate with huge windows overlooking the ocean. We spent the day working, her reviewing designs while I handled correspondence and logistics. It was almost like we were partners, not employer and employee. That evening, Celeste suggested we take a walk on the beach. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. We walked in silence for a while, the sound of the waves filling the space between us. I have been thinking about what you said, Celeste said finally, about being afraid. I waited, not wanting to interrupt. You were right, I am afraid. I have been alone for so long that I do not know how to be any other way. I built these walls to protect myself, but now I am trapped inside them. You can tear them down, I said. Can I? What if I do not remember how to let someone in? Then I will help you remember. She stopped walking and turned to face me. The ocean breeze moved her short gray hair. She looked beautiful and sad and hopeful, all at once. I am 55 years old, Lara. You are 30. That is a lifetime of difference between us. Age is just a number, I said. I am your boss. This is complicated. Life is complicated. That does not mean we should not try. I could hurt you, or you could hurt me. Either way, it ends badly, or it does not. Or we find something real, and meaningful and worth fighting for. She looked at me for a long moment, searching my face. Then she reached up, put her hand on the back of my neck, and pulled me down into a kiss. It was soft at first, tentative, like she was afraid I would pull away. But I did not pull away. I wrapped my arms around her waist and kissed her back, pouring everything I felt into that kiss. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathless. I have wanted to do that for months, she whispered. Me too, I said. We walked back to the house, hand in hand, and for the first time since I started working for her, Celeste Aldridge looked truly happy. That night, we talked for hours about everything, about her childhood in Connecticut, about my years in the military, about the things we dreamed of, and the things we feared. And then we made love. She was nervous at first, telling me it had been years since she had been intimate with anyone. I took my time with her, kissing her, slowly, touching her gently, letting her set the pace. When I finally undressed her, I was struck by how beautiful she was. Petite and elegant, with soft skin and gray hair that caught the moonlight coming through the windows. I worried her body with my hands and mouth, learning what made her gasp, what made her moan, what made her cry out my name. She was responsive and passionate, all the ice melting away to reveal the fire underneath. When she came apart under my touch, she looked at me with wonder, like she had forgotten what pleasure felt like. Then it was my turn. She explored my body with curiosity and enthusiasm, her small hands tracing the muscles I had built through years of training. She told me I was beautiful, strong, magnificent. We made love multiple times that night, unable to get enough of each other, making up for months of tension and longing. In the morning, I woke up with her in my arms. She looked peaceful, younger, somehow the lines of stress smoothed away in sleep. "Good morning," she said softly, when she opened her eyes. "Good morning," I said. "So," she said, a small smile on her face. "What now?" "Now we figure it out together," I said. When we returned to the city, we had to figure out how to navigate our new relationship. Celeste was adamant that we keep things private, at least at first. She did not want her employees gossiping or thinking she was unprofessional, so we were discreet. At work, I was still her bodyguard, professional and distant. But when we were alone in the penthouse, everything changed. We would cook dinner together, her teaching me about wine and food. We would watch movies on her enormous couch. We would talk about everything and nothing. And we would make love, constantly making up for years of loneliness on her part, and months of longing on mine. I learned more about her. She loved old jazz music. She collected first edition books. She spoke 3 languages fluently. She had a wicked sense of humor that she rarely showed anyone. She learned about me too. She loved listening to my stories from the military, from growing up in Denver. She loved watching me work out, saying my body was a work of art. She loved the way I made her feel safe and seen. We started doing things together outside the apartment. She would drive us in one of her cars, her Porsche or her vintage Mercedes, and we would cruise through the city at night, music playing, singing badly and not caring. We went to underground jazz clubs in the village where no one recognized her, and we could dance close without judgment. We took her yacht out on the Hudson, spending the day on the water, swimming and sunbathing, and making love in the cabin below deck. We went to exclusive parties where Celeste was always the most elegant woman in the room, and I was her mysterious tall companion. People speculated about our relationship, but Celeste never confirmed or denied anything. One night in September, we were driving through Manhattan in her Aston Martin, the top-down music blasting. Celeste was singing along to some song from the 8 Sick, completely off-key, her hair whipping in the wind. I looked over at her, and my heart swelled. This woman, this brilliant, complicated, wonderful woman was mine, and I was hers. "I love you," I said suddenly. She looked over at me, surprised. "What? I love you, Celeste? I know it has only been a few months, but I do. I love you." She pulled the car over, right there on 5th Avenue. not caring about the honking horns behind us. "Say it again," she said. "I love you." Tears filled her eyes. "I love you, too, Lara. I did not think I could feel this way again. I did not think I deserved to, but I love you so much." We kissed right there with the city moving around us, lost in our own world. In October, something happened at work that would change everything. Celeste called a meeting with her senior leadership team. I stood in the corner of the conference room as always, watching and listening. "I have been thinking about our brand values," Celeste said, "about what Aldridge Industries stands for. We talk about luxury, quality, craftsmanship, but I want us to stand for something more. I want us to stand for authenticity, for courage, for being true to yourself." Her team listened, intrigued. "I want to launch a campaign for Pride Month next year," she continued. "Not just a rainbow logo or a token donation, something real, something that celebrates LGBTQ people and creates meaningful change." One of her executives spoke up. "That is admirable, Celeste, but it could be risky. Some of our traditional customers might not approve. Then they can take their business elsewhere," Celeste said firmly. "I am tired of hiding who I am. I am tired of living in fear of judgment. I am a gay woman, and I am damn proud of it, and I want my company to reflect that pride." The room went silent. This was the first time Celeste had publicly acknowledged her sexuality. "I want this campaign to do 3 things," she continued. "First, celebrate LGBTQ artists, designers, and creators. Give them a platform and compensation for their work. Second, donate significant funds to LGBTQ organizations, particularly those supporting youth who have been rejected by their families. And third, create a mentorship program within our company for LGBTQ employees and interns." She looked around the room. "I want this to be called Proud to Be. Not just proud to be LGBTQ, but proud to be yourself, whoever that is. No more hiding, no more shame, no more fear. Who is with me?" There was a moment of silence. Then one by one, her team nodded. Some were smiling. Some looked moved. "Let's do it," her COO said. After the meeting, Celeste found me in her office. "Did I just make a huge mistake?" she asked. "No," I said. "You just did the bravest thing I have ever seen." She smiled. "I could not have done it without you. You showed me that it is okay to be vulnerable, that it is okay to be myself. I am proud of you," I said. "I am proud of me too," she said. For the first time in a very long time. Over the next few months, Celeste threw herself into the Pride campaign. She assembled a team of LGBTQ designers, artists, and activists. She reached out to organizations doing important work. She poured resources and passion into making Proud to Be something meaningful, and she asked me to be part of it. "I want you to be the face of the campaign," she said, one evening. "You represent strength, protection, authenticity. You are exactly the kind of person we want to celebrate me." I was shocked. "I am just a bodyguard. You are so much more than that. You are a former soldier who has dedicated her life to protecting others. You are a woman who is unapologetically herself. You are someone young LGBTQ people can look up to. What would I have to do? Photoshoots, maybe some interviews. Tell your story. Show people that there is no one way to be gay, to be a woman, to be yourself." I thought about it. About the scared kid I had been at 20. Terrified to tell my parents I was gay. About how much it would have meant to see someone like me. Someone strong and successful, living openly. "Okay," I said, "I will do it." The photo shoots were intense, but fun. They dressed me in Celeste's designs, sharp suits, and elegant accessories. They photographed me being myself, strong and confident. But the most powerful images were the ones of Celeste and me together. We had decided to go public with our relationship as part of the campaign. Celeste said she was done hiding, done pretending. She wanted the world to see that she was in love, that she was happy, that she was proud. The photos of us together were breathtaking, her small and elegant, me tall and solid. She wore her designer outfits. I stood beside her in my bodyguard uniform. The contrast between us was sharp, but so was the unmistakable love in our eyes. The campaign rolled out in June, right in the middle of Pride Month. The reaction was enormous. Sales didn't drop, they went up. Customers embraced the honesty, the bravery, the message behind it all. LGBTQ people in particular responded in force, filling social media with their support, their thanks, their stories. And then something even bigger began to happen. We started hearing from people whose lives were actually shifting, young people who suddenly felt less isolated, parents who were beginning to understand and accept their gay children, companies that felt inspired to launch their own inclusive initiatives. The Proud to Be campaign wasn't just a success, it was truly changing things. Pride Month in Harbour City is unforgettable. The energy, the colors, the sheer joy in the air. Celeste and I went to the parade together, not as CEO and protection detail, but as partners. We walked down Fifth Avenue with thousands of others, fingers intertwined, rainbow flags in our hands. Celeste wore one of her own creations, a gorgeous hat adorned with rainbow ribbons. I kept to a simple suit, but I had never felt more proud in my life. People recognized us from the campaign, they shouted for us, thanked us, told us we inspired them. Celeste cried happy tears, overwhelmed by the warmth and acceptance. That night, Aldridge Industries hosted a massive party at a venue in Chelsea. It was a celebration of the campaign, of pride, of love itself. LGBTQ performers took the stage, activists spoke, and the room pulsed with dancing, music, and joy. Celeste delivered a speech that brought the crowd to its feet. For most of my life, I hid who I was, she said. I believed that to be successful, to be respected, I had to be someone else. I built walls around myself, and called it strength. But real strength is not hiding, real strength is having the courage to be yourself, even when it's frightening, even when it's hard. She turned her gaze toward me. I fell in love this year with an incredible woman who taught me that. She showed me that vulnerability is not weakness. She showed me that letting people in doesn't make you less strong, it makes you more human, and she gave me the courage to finally be proud of who I am. The crowd erupted in applause. Later that night, we danced together in the middle of the crowded floor, her arms around my neck, my arms around her waist, swaying to music that was too loud and too fast. But we did not care. Thank you, she said, her lips close to my ear so I could hear over the music. For what? For saving me. For showing me how to live again. You saved yourself, I said. I just reminded you that you could. We kissed right there in front of hundreds of people, and the crowd cheered. After Pride Month, life settled into a beautiful new normal. Celeste officially made our relationship public. She introduced me as her partner at business events. We attended galas and fundraisers together. We were photographed for magazines as a power couple. But my favorite moments were still the quiet ones. Sunday mornings in bed, reading the paper, and drinking coffee. Cooking dinner together in her enormous kitchen. Late-night conversations about dreams and fears and everything in between. One evening in July, we were on her yacht, anchored in a quiet cove off Long Island. The sun was setting, painting the water golden pink. I have been thinking about something, Celeste said. What is that about us? About the future. She took my hand. Lara, I know we have only been together for about a year, and I know there is an age difference between us, but I have never been happier than I am with you. I have never felt more myself, and I do not want to waste any more time pretending or hiding or being afraid. My heart started racing. Was she about to say what I thought she was going to say? She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. I am too old and too successful to do this the traditional way, she said with a smile. So I am going to ask you straight out. Lara Koenig, will you marry me? She opened the box. Inside was a ring, a simple platinum band with 3 diamonds. I was crying. When had I started crying? Yes, I said. Yes, absolutely. Yes, she slid the ring onto my finger, and I pulled her into my arms, kissing her as the sun set behind us. I love you, she said. I love you too, I said so much. We made love on the deck of the yacht that night, under the stars with the gentle rocking of the waves beneath us. It was perfect. We got married in September, a small ceremony at her house in the Hamptons, just close friends and family. My parents flew in from Syria, proud and happy to see me so in love. Celeste's few remaining family members came, some supportive, some clearly uncomfortable but trying. I wore a tailored suit, Celeste wore a stunning cream-colored dress, and of course one of her own hat designs. We exchanged vows on the beach at sunset, the same beach where we had first kissed. "Celeste," I said, my voice shaking with emotion, "you taught me that strength comes in many forms. You taught me that building something meaningful takes courage and vision and relentless determination. You taught me that it is never too late to be who you really are. I promise to protect you, not just physically, but emotionally. I promise to support your dreams. I promise to love you every single day for the rest of my life." Celeste's vows made everyone cry. "Lara, you walked into my life when I had given up on the possibility of real connection. You saw past my defenses. You challenged me to be braver, softer, more honest. You showed me that love is not a weakness, it is the greatest strength we have. I promise to be worthy of your love. I promise to keep tearing down my walls. I promise to build a life with you that is full of joy and adventure and authenticity. I am so proud to be your wife." We kissed as the sun set behind us, and our small group of guests cheered. The reception was elegant but intimate. Good food, good wine, good music. We danced together, her head resting against my chest, my arms wrapped around her. "Mrs. Aldridge Koenig," she said, testing out our hyphenated last name. "Mrs. Aldridge Koenig," I agreed. "It has a nice ring to it, everything about this has a nice ring to it," she said. That night in our bedroom overlooking the ocean, we made love as wives for the first time. It felt different, more significant. We belonged to each other now in a way that was recognized by the world. The first year of marriage was everything I had dreamed of, and more. Celeste and I found our rhythm as a married couple. She was still the CEO of Aldridge Industries, still demanding and brilliant and driven. But now she came home to me every night. Now she let herself be soft, vulnerable, loved. I was still her bodyguard, but our professional relationship had evolved. We hired an additional security person to handle some of the more routine tasks, which gave me more freedom to be Celeste's partner, not just her protection. We traveled together constantly. Paris for Fashion Week, where we stayed in a gorgeous apartment overlooking the Eiffel Tower. Milan for business meetings, where we ate the best pasta of our lives and made love in our hotel room with the windows open, the warm Italian air washing over us. Tokyo for a new store opening, where we explored temples and markets hand in hand. But we also made time for quiet moments. Weekends in the Hamptons. Dinners at our favorite little restaurants in the village where no one bothered us. Movie nights on the couch with takeout. Celeste's head in my lap while I played with her hair. The Proud to Be campaign had become an ongoing part of Aldridge Industries' identity. Every year they did something new for Pride Month. Scholarships for LGBTQ students studying design, partnerships with LGBTQ-owned businesses, grants for community organizations, and Celeste became a vocal advocate. She gave speeches, wrote eds, used her platform to speak up for LGBTQ rights. She was no longer hiding any part of herself, and she encouraged others to do the same. "You know what the best part of all this is?" she said to me one evening as we sat on our balcony overlooking Central Park. "What I get to be fully myself, for the first time in my entire life. I am not hiding anything, not my sexuality, not my relationship, not my feelings. I am just me, and that is enough. You have always been enough," I said, "you just had to believe it." She kissed me softly. "Thank you for helping me believe it." In November, we got news that the Proud to Be campaign had won a major advertising award. Celeste was invited to accept the award at a ceremony in Los Angeles. "Come with me," she said. "Not as my bodyguard, but as my wife. I want you standing next to me when I accept this." The ceremony was glamorous. Red carpet, celebrities, photographers. Celeste, looked stunning in a custom gown, her short grey hair styled perfectly, wearing a hat that was a work of art. I wore a tailored tuxedo that Celeste had designed specifically for me. I felt confident and handsome and proud to be by her side. When Celeste's name was called, we walked up to the stage together. The crowd gave her a standing ovation. She accepted the award with tears in her eyes. "This award is not just for me," she said, into the microphone. "It is for every LGBTQ person who has ever been told they need to hide who they are. It is for every young person struggling to accept themselves. It is for everyone who has had the courage to live authentically despite the cost. And it is for my incredible wife Lara, who showed me that being vulnerable is the bravest thing we can do. I love you, darling. Thank you for changing my life." The audience erupted in applause. I stood there trying not to cry, overwhelmed by love and pride. After the ceremony, we went back to our hotel. We ordered champagne and celebrated, then made love with the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lights of Los Angeles. "I am so proud of you," I whispered as we lay tangled together afterward. "I am proud of us," she said. "Look at what we built together, not just the campaign, but this life, this love." "Best year of my life," I said. "Mine too, and it is only going to get better." She was right. The next few years were incredible. Celeste's company continued to thrive. The Proud to Be initiative expanded internationally. We became known as a power couple in both the business world and the LGBTQ community. But more importantly, we were happy. Deeply, genuinely happy. We bought a house in upstate Harbor City, a beautiful property with land and privacy where we could escape the city. We adopted 2 dogs, big German shepherds that Celeste spoiled outrageously. We hosted dinner parties for our friends, mixing Celeste's high society contacts with my more down-to-earth military buddies, creating this wonderful, eclectic chosen family. On our 3rd anniversary, Celeste surprised me with a trip to Denaria. We visited my hometown, met with my extended family, explored the places where I grew up. She wanted to understand where I came from, what shaped me. It meant everything to me. "Your parents raised an incredible daughter," she told my mother over dinner one night. My mother smiled. "She has become an incredible woman, and you have made her so happy. That is all we ever wanted for her." We visited Lindenstow, where I showed her the apartment I used to live in, the gym where I trained, the places that had been part of my old life. It felt like bringing together my past and my present, showing her all the parts of me. "I am glad you left Lindenstow," she said, as we walked along the Spree River, "because it brought you to me, but I am also glad I got to see this part of your life. It helps me understand you even better." On our 5th anniversary, we went back to the Hamptons, to the beach where we had first kissed, where we had gotten married. 5 years, Celeste said, as we walked along the sand, our shoes in our hands. "It has gone by so fast." "Happiest 5 years of my life," I said. "Mine too." She stopped walking and turned to face me. "Do you remember that first day you came to work for me when I was so cold and demanding? How could I forget? I almost quit. I am so glad you did not. I am so glad you saw past my walls. I am so glad you loved me anyway." "I will always love you," I said. "Even when you are demanding and impossible, I am not that bad anymore," she protested, laughing. "You are still pretty demanding, but now I know it comes from passion, not coldness, and I love that about you." She wrapped her arms around my waist. "I love you, Lara, more than I ever thought I could love anyone. You gave me back my life. You gave me back myself. You did the same for me," I said. "Before you, I was just going through the motions, doing my job, sending money home, but not really living. You taught me what it means to truly live, to feel everything deeply, to be brave enough to love with your whole heart." We kissed as the sun set, the same sun that had set on our first kiss on our wedding. On so many beautiful moments. "What do you think the next 5 years will bring?" she asked. "More of this," I said. More love, more adventures, more life. Maybe we will travel more. Maybe we will expand the business. Maybe we will start a foundation. Whatever it is, we will do it together. Together, she agreed. Always together. As we walked back to the house, her hand in mine, I thought about how far we had both come. Celeste from a lonely, isolated woman, hiding behind her success to someone who lived openly and loved freely. Me from a bodyguard, just doing a job, to a wife building a life with the woman I loved. Our story was not a traditional one. We had an age gap that some people questioned. We had started as employer and employee, which complicated things. We lived in the public eye with people always watching and judging. But none of that mattered. What mattered was that we found each other. What mattered was that we were brave enough to choose love over fear, connection over isolation, authenticity over pretense. The Proud to Be campaign had started as a business initiative, but it became so much more than that. It became a movement. It created real change. It helped countless LGBTQ people feel seen, valued, celebrated. But for me, the most important thing it did was give Celeste the courage to be herself, to stop hiding, to let herself be loved. And in loving her, I found myself too. Now as I sit on our porch in the Hamptons, watching Celeste work in her garden, her hands in the soil, her face peaceful and content, I am overwhelmed with gratitude. Gratitude for the job offer that brought me to Harbor City. Gratitude for Celeste's impossible standards that pushed me to be better. Gratitude for that first conversation, when we started to really see each other. Gratitude for every moment that led us here. She looks up and catches me watching her. She smiles, that soft, genuine smile she reserves just for me. "What are you thinking about?" she calls out. "How lucky I am," I say. "Come here," she says, holding out her hand. I walk over and pull her to her feet. She is covered in dirt. Her clothes are a mess, and she has never looked more beautiful. "I am the lucky one," she says. "I love you, Lara. I love you too, Celeste, forever." We stand there in the garden, holding each other, the afternoon sun warm on our faces. Two women who found each other against the odds. Two women who chose courage over fear. Two women who built a life together that is full of love and purpose and joy. This is our story, our love story, and it is still being written every single day in moments big and small. From that first difficult day in the penthouse, to this perfect afternoon in the garden. Every step was worth it. Every challenge, every fear overcome, every wall torn down, all of it led us here to this moment, to this love, to this life we built together. And I would not change a single thing. People sometimes ask us if the age difference bothers us. It does not. If anything, it has become one of the things I love most about our relationship. Celeste has wisdom and perspective that comes from decades of living. I have energy and strength that keeps us both active and adventurous. We balance each other perfectly. Celeste officially stepped down as CEO of Aldridge Industries last year. She is now the creative director, focusing on what she loves most, designing and creating. She has more time now. More time for us, for travel, for life. We spend half the year in Harbor City and half the year traveling. Last year, we spent 3 months in Greece renting a villa on Santorini. We woke up every morning to views of the Aegean. Celeste painted, something she had not done since college. I learned to cook Greek food. We made love in the afternoon with the windows open, the Mediterranean breeze cooling our skin. The Proud to Be initiative is now its own non-profit foundation, with a full staff and millions in funding. It has helped thousands of LGBTQ young people with scholarships, mentorship, mental health services, and housing assistance. Celeste and I are still involved, but we have handed over day-to-day operations to a younger generation of activists who are doing incredible work. We were invited to speak at a Pride event in Lindenstadt last month. Standing on that stage in my hometown with Celeste beside me talking about our love story to thousands of people felt surreal and beautiful. After the speech, a young woman came up to us. She could not have been more than 20. She was crying. "Thank you," she said. "My parents kicked me out when I told them I was gay. I have been living with friends, trying to finish school, feeling so alone. But your foundation gave me a scholarship. And seeing you too, seeing that love like yours is possible, it gives me hope. It makes me believe that I can have a future too." Celeste hugged her tight. "You will have a beautiful future," she said. "You will find your person. You will build a life you love. Be patient with yourself. Be brave and never ever hide who you are." The young woman, left with tears still streaming down her face, but she was smiling. "That is why we do this," Celeste said to me afterward. "That is why it all matters." Last week, we were back in our apartment in Harbor City. It was a quiet Sunday morning. Celeste was reading the newspaper, wearing my old military t-shirt and nothing else. Her reading glasses perched on her nose, her gray hair messy from sleep. I was making us coffee, watching her from the kitchen, my heart so full it felt like it might burst. "What?" she said, looking up and catching me staring. "Nothing, just admiring my beautiful wife. I am 62, and wearing your ratty t-shirt. I am hardly beautiful right now." "You are always beautiful to me," I said. I brought her coffee and sat down next to her on the couch. "Do you remember when we met? When you told me I was late on my first day?" She laughed. "I was horrible to you. You were terrifying. I thought you were the coldest person I had ever met." I was cold, I had to be. It was the only way I knew how to protect myself. And now I asked. Now I am warm. Now I am happy. Now I am loved. She set down her newspaper and took my hand. "You thawed me out, Lara. You made me human again. You were always human," I said. "You just needed someone to see it." We sat there in comfortable silence, sipping our coffee, her head on my shoulder. "I have been thinking," she said, after a while. "About what?" "About how grateful I am. I wasted so many years hiding, being afraid, building walls. But then you came into my life, and everything changed. I got to experience real love, real intimacy, real partnership, and I got to help other people find that too through our work. No regrets. I asked only one," she said. "That I did not meet you sooner. That we did not have more time together." My throat tightened. We did not talk about it often, but the age difference meant that statistically I would have many years without her. It was the one thing that scared me. "Hey," she said, seeing my expression. "Do not go there. We have right now, we have today. We have whatever time we get, and we are going to fill every second of it with love and joy and living. That is what matters. I love you so much it terrifies me sometimes." I said, "The thought of losing you." "You will never lose me," she said firmly. "Even when I am gone, you will carry me with you. Our love does not end just because our bodies do. It continues in the work we did, in the people we helped, in the life we built together." She kissed me softly. "Besides, I plan on living to be 100. You are stuck with me for a long time yet." I laughed through my tears. "Good, because I am not done with you. What else do you want to do?" she asked. "Everything. I want to take you to every country we have not visited yet. I want to wake up next to you 10,000 more times. I want to grow old with you. I want to sit on our porch when we are both ancient and wrinkled, and laugh about the life we lived." "That sounds perfect," she said. We made love there on the couch, slow and tender, taking our time. Afterward, wrapped in blankets, she said something that made me cry. "Thank you for loving me when I thought I was unlovable. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible to myself. Thank you for being patient while I learned to tear down my walls. Thank you for giving me the most beautiful years of my life. Thank you for letting me in," I said. "Thank you for trusting me with your heart. Thank you for building this incredible life with me. We are not perfect. We still argue sometimes. Celeste can still be demanding and stubborn. I can be overprotective and too intense. But we have learned to communicate, to compromise, to love each other through the difficult moments, and the beautiful moments far outweigh the difficult ones. Last night, we hosted a dinner party at our apartment. 20 people, a mix of Celeste's fashion world friends, and my security industry colleagues, and LGBTQ activists we have met through our work. The apartment was full of laughter and music and good food. At one point, I looked around the room and felt overwhelmed with happiness. This chosen family we had built. This community of people who accepted us, celebrated us, loved us. Celeste caught my eye from across the room and smiled. That secret smile that was just for me. The one that said, "Can you believe this is our life?" I smiled back. Because we created it together. Our love story is not a fairy tale. It is real, complicated, imperfect, and absolutely beautiful. It is two women who found each other when they were not even looking, who chose to be brave, who chose to be authentic, who chose love over fear every single time. And the best part, our story is still being written. Every day is a new chapter. Every moment is another line in the book of our lives. I do not know what the future holds. I do not know how many years we have together. But I know this: every single day with Celeste Aldridge is a gift. Every morning, I wake up next to her. Every night, I fall asleep in her arms. Every moment we share, big or small, is precious. We built something beautiful. Not just our relationship, but our legacy. The Proud to Be Foundation will continue helping people long after we are gone. The thousands of LGBTQ people we have supported will go on to live authentic, proud lives. The change we helped spark in the world will keep moving outward, rippling into lives we will never see. But my favorite part of our legacy will always be this: two women who refused to disappear. Two women who chose to love each other openly, proudly, fiercely. Two women who proved that it is never too late to be yourself. Never too late to fall in love. Never too late to begin living truthfully. Celeste is calling me now. She wants to take a walk through Central Park. The leaves are turning, and she wants to watch them shift colors before they drop. So I'll stop here. Not because our story has ended, but because we still have a life to live, more walks to share, more sunsets to witness, more moments to hold close.